You might have noticed that one half of the Boss and Hug connection, Sasha Banks, didn't appear on the Raw after Wrestlemania, despite her partner Bayley showing up and losing in a singles match to Alexa Bliss, who finally returned to wrestling after a brief hiatus. Both Banks and Bayley fought with everything they could at WrestleMania to try and retain their women's tag team championships, but it wasn't enough, and the Australian duo of Peyton Royce and Billie Kay managed to surprisingly pick up the win, becoming the new championship holders. After the show, numerous reports flooded in of an incident backstage involving Sasha Banks. Wrestling Insider Slice Wrestling tweeted, "Apparently, I'm being told there was an incident backstage at WrestleMania involving Sasha Banks. She was highly upset over something, and that may have led to her cancelling the Wendy Williams show. I'm working on confirming more details and will update later as I investigate." Banks, who was set to appear on the Wendy Williams show on Tuesday, pulled out at the last minute due to personal reasons, as she tweeted, "Due to personal reasons, I had to pull out of my appearance on Wendy Williams. Sorry to everyone who was looking forward to it. Hopefully the opportunity will be there again later. Hashtag if you only knew." Those in charge of the Wendy Williams show were reportedly fuming of the last minute cancellation, but this was later smoothed out, as on the show, Williams told of Banks having a family emergency, which is why it was cancelled. Banks shed some light on what she was going through in the long picture message tweet saying, "There is something about the way life happens today that makes it hard to look ahead. There are things that make it difficult to laugh, difficult to live the way you want. There are things that make it almost impossible to trust where you are, or to believe in what you want to be. You look around and life is happening way too fast. Sometimes it feels like the moments are gone. Everything happens all at once and right away. We're marching towards a destiny we cannot understand, towards the kingdom of convenient. Then one day you look up and you can't find the meaning. Your crisis of purpose and passion is acting up, but they tell you that that's supposed to be normal. Well, I don't want normal. I want magic, because that's the place that feels like home to me. That's the place where I remember what dreams look like, where meaning is effortless and purpose is simple. That's the place where love still matters. I want that feeling of coming home again. I want to feel like myself. I want that magic." Her tweet certainly gives off the vibe that she's burnt out in wrestling, and a short break will do her good. However, it was a different story on WrestleMania. Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer reported that Banks tried to quit WWE. This happened after finding out that she was going to drop the championships to the Iconics. Originally, Banks and Bayley were going to retain the belts at Mania, but a last-minute change in plans saw the belts go to the Aussie duo. Banks was under the impression that her and Bayley would be given a strong title run. Thus why all the extra work was done on matches in NXT and SmackDown Live. Instead of WWE giving in to her demand, they've given her a short vacation instead to think things over through. Now, this isn't the first time she has dropped hints of quitting, as earlier this year, Banks hinted at supporting the Revival's decision to possibly call it quits with the WWE. And whilst rumours led to many believing she wanted to go to All Elite Wrestling, it's clear she just wanted out of the company, possibly upset at the way she was booked at the time. While Sasha Banks thinks through her decision of possibly leaving WWE, this might be a good opportunity for Bayley. Some suspect that the Huggable One could be turning heel soon. This rumour, however, has just become common hyperbole, as WWE have teased a number of times of her possibly turning heel, but never going through with it. Perhaps if the WWE goes through with letting Sasha Banks go, they could start to concentrate more of their efforts on Bayley, leading to a heel turn and possibly a championship win down the road. Multiple injuries. In other news, a couple of top WWE superstars may have been inflicted to injury this week, and most of them are exclusive to the Blue brand. One who is certain to miss a few weeks of action is New Day member Big E, who, even though he didn't wrestle at the Show of Shows, was injured on Tuesday night during the six-man tag against Drew McIntyre and The Bar. Big E injured his knee during a crossbody spot, and in his own way confirmed the news on Twitter saying, "Making mincemeat of my meniscus. Crossbody cooked the cartilage. Bye for a bit. Maybe this was the result of doing too many of those damn splits." The other is Daniel Bryan, who defended his WWE Championship against Kofi Kingston at Wrestlemania. Bryan lost, and in the process, he suffered an injury. It's currently unsure as to what injury he may have suffered, but it explains his absence from SmackDown Live this week. Many also believe that the Scottish psychopath Drew McIntyre was injured when appearing on Tuesday night. However, fans needn't worry, as this was a kayfabe injury. Drew walking out of the match was how it was supposed to go. Supposedly this was done to protect Drew, but we can't see why he needed to walk out. He already suffered a loss to Roman Reigns, and Sheamus and Cesaro could have taken the pin with Drew still standing tall. But whatever, at least he isn't injured, as there are big plans for him to chase the Universal Championship. Yep, the one that has Velcro on it. Lastly, Ronda Rousey also suffered an injury during a match against Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair in the winner takes all match at Wrestlemania. When Rousey took a bump off the apron, she suffered a broken right hand. When posing with the hitman Bret Hart for a photograph, you can clearly see she is sporting a cast. Rousey is believed to be done with a full-time schedule and may go the way of Brock Lesnar by appearing sporadically throughout the year. It's likely we won't see her until SummerSlam or Survivor Series, so there's plenty of time to heal up her hand. WWE Writer Fired. WWE's head honcho Vince McMahon is known for a lot of crazy rules regarding its employees and wrestlers. Some being not being able to leave shows until the end, no jumping on the ropes during an entrance, not using the words title or wrestler, and one of the strictest rules is not name dropping him during the Hall of Fame speech, as Vince doesn't like to be praised during the wrestler's night of accomplishments. Well, a writer by the name of R.D. Evans didn't get the memo backstage, or if he knew, it wasn't a blatant disregard of the rules. During the Hart Foundation's induction speech, Bret Hart told of the story involving Vince McMahon being impressed with them during their early stages in the company, and that was enough to get the writer fired. Hall of Famer Sean Waltman told on his podcast, "I think Bret mentioned Vince a bunch of times. Vince got really hot. I think somebody got fired, and then we went out and said it a million times and nobody got fired." It goes to show that Vince really does have his head up his ass sometimes, but rules are rules. Bret Hart attacker update. Speaking of the hitman who was attacked by Zach Madsen during the Hall of Fame speech, Madsen is currently out on bond according to PW Insider. Zachary Madsen, the man who tackled WWE Hall of Famer Bret Hart during the Hart Foundation's induction at the 2019 WWE Hall of Fame ceremony last Saturday, was bonded out of the Brooklyn detention complex yesterday to the tune of $1,500. Madsen still faces the penalty of criminal trespassing and 2 counts of assault, and if convicted, he could be facing a year of jail time. Okay, jail time might be unlikely, but psychiatric help might be more suited. And lastly, is Charlotte Flair engaged? Marriages in the Flair family really don't seem to last. Father Rick has been divorced 4 times and daughter Charlotte seems to be close behind with 2. She was first married to a man named Ricky Johnson, no relations to Dwayne for those wondering, in 2010, but she told of Johnson being physical with her at times, which led to a divorce. Charlotte then married Thomas Latimer in 2013, who was a former TNA wrestler who went by the name of Bram, but after only 2 years, the couple's divorce was finalized. Flair was then later rumored to be in a relationship with Alberto Del Rio before he met Paige. Whether that did or did not happen, it didn't last for long, and for the last year or 2, Charlotte has been living the life of a bachelorette. But that has recently changed. Flair has been dating WWE superstar Andrade. The two have been dating for a few weeks now, and many caught on to their relationship on social media before the couple finally made it public at the Hall of Fame ceremony. However, it seems that the couple may now be engaged. The two are currently on vacation right now, and in one picture posted on Instagram, Charlotte's left finger has a ring on it, something she didn't brand at the ceremony. Perhaps Charlotte will make it 3 for 3, and if they do end up tying the knot for real, could this play out on WWE television? Only time will tell, but what are your thoughts on Sasha Banks possibly calling it quits with WWE? Should she find greener pastures elsewhere? What happens to Bayley now? Let us know in the comments down below, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.